Hey Scorpio, welcome to your mid-June 2021 general reading. I'm sorry I didn't post a June reading. I needed some time to just rest after entering eclipse season. So anyways, I'm back and ready to deliver more readings here on YouTube. So yeah, it's a general reading. Take what resonates, leave the rest behind. Be sure to check your sun, moon, rising, and midheaven for more. Outside of that, I'm just going to hop right into it, pull some oracle cards, then pull some tarot. We'll see what's up, and then wrap it up. So anyway, Scorpio, let's see what we've got for you for the second half. And please keep in mind, all readings are fluid. Timing is fluid. So whenever you see this, that's when it's meant for you to see. If it resonates with you. So anyways, here we go. So first card we have here is Hunger with this tiger here. We have Descend, and we have Shackles. So I feel like, in a way, it's some of you may be going through like a dark night of the soul experience, doing a lot of shadow work, going to the depths and realizing kind of all those spaces that you suppressed, or all those places where you feel kind of unlike yourself. You're starting to break free because there's something within you, I feel like, that has been awakened. There's some part of you that recognizes the way in which you become your own worst enemy and have held yourself back in some aspect of your life. And instead of blaming others for this, you're really getting to, digging down deep in order to discover some of those emotional pains or traumas that you can now allow yourself to recognize and break free from during this time, which is such an amazing thing to do, but it's not always easy, right? With this Hunger card, with this tiger on it, it's interesting because it's like I'm almost seeing like another animal almost emerge or kind of be created out of this tiger. And it's like, for some of you, I feel like some of you really guard yourself with a certain amount of aggression, like showing your fangs, but deep down within, there's part of you that it's like you try to protect the things that you have, maybe because you see your power. You see what people have been seeing within you, but you've been in such a mode of protection and trying to maintain what you have out of fear, out of anger or resentment, that you yourself haven't been able to acknowledge some of the gifts that you hold within. And a lot of you are really great manifestors, people who are able to create things and opportunities as they please. But when you're stuck in a different mode, it can make it difficult for you to actually create what you want, because your focus is lost, it's scattered, it's on the outside world, it's guarded, it's shielded. And so the blessings that you're creating are blocked from you also, as well as maybe you just aren't, because you're saying things out of a need to protect or assert oneself, that you're almost creating more reasons for that to occur and that to happen. So and it's leaving you hungry, right? And so it's like, pay attention to when you get defensive, because at times that could leave you worse off than if you had just kind of let things go, let things flow for a second, observed and continued to let truth unfold, right? Because there are ways to protect ourselves that isn't necessarily active, as well as ways to protect ourselves that are rooted in staying in our lane and creating our abundance, creating and focusing on what it is that we aspire to be, or what goal we have, right? So enough with that Hunger card. We're going to go to this Descend card here. And what I'm feeling from this is almost like Page of Cups energy. So it's like being able to kind of play with your energy. I think the more that you get curious and kind of explore how your emotions do affect your environment and experience, and kind of play around with your experience a little bit, allow yourself to be open for pleasant surprises instead of assuming the worst, you're going to be able to fall back into a state of flow, one that you perhaps have felt separate from for some time. And I feel like it's going to come to a culmination toward that Capricorn full moon that we have toward the end of the month. I think it's, oh gosh, I forget what day it is exactly. I haven't looked it up, but I feel like there's something in there with that, because I feel like you have a hard time taking a back seat with things because you're used to having to action and then again protect what you've got, right? Have that mama tiger energy. And so what I'm seeing here is it's time for you. Some of you, you are a water sign, so maybe some of you do need to spend time in the water. Maybe some of you have a lot of water in your chart, but there are different things like that that I feel like are coming up here. What else do we have here? There's part of you that also really, I feel like there's some of you out there too that are really desiring the right partner to come in. And I feel like the part of the things that you're setting up now and that you're actioning now are helping open those doors for you to enter, or for a new romantic partner to enter your life at this time or pretty soon. I'm getting somewhere around, I'm getting the numbers 3 to 8, so it could be 3 to 8 days, weeks, or months that I feel like that energy will be coming through. But right now, it's still pretty dormant, but it is present. I feel like there's something about like coldness within you, maybe numbness or a lack of emotion that you're kind of, it's like you're warming back up to the world in some way, allowing yourself to not be as judgmental in order for you to get back into this flow as I mentioned before. Now, with this shackles card, here's the next thing. I feel like this kind of like flushing out of places where you felt restricted. And I feel like this is something that the universe is going to do on its own. As you begin to recognize and see where you've kind of held yourself up, or maybe where things have seemed locked up and inaccessible, it's like the universe is going to unlock those things for you. I'm kind of like imagining like in a video game, it's like when you hit a certain amount of points, like experience points or something like that, like the game unlocks special traits or powers, you know, upgrades. And I feel like that's something that's going to be in store for you toward the end of this eclipse season, which is really exciting. So let's see what else we have here. I also feel something too about like throughout July and August, you're gonna be able to see the path start to come together. Something's gonna be coming together. And I feel like you're also going to be connecting with people, perhaps long distance or over the internet in some way, shape, or form that allows you to expand your network or broaden the path in some way. That's just one thing that I'm also getting. And I also feel like for a lot of you, your angels are really close by. I feel like you have at least like 5 guides with you. One of them, of course, being your higher self, but I feel like maybe there are 4 of them. There's something really here that flows with the line of like communication. And I feel like speaking with your heart, speaking your truth in a heartfelt manner. It's kind of like you're changing the way that you communicate with the world and with yourself, and that is what's helping make this path open up a little bit more for you. And so I feel like that's a really good card with this shackles card coming through. Now, next up, at the bottom of the deck we have bloom. And so for some of you, you may still feel like there's some part of you that's kind of missing. It's like you can access it sometimes, but it's almost like when you're trying to create something and it just almost happens, but like not quite, and not quite the way that you intended. And I feel like it's very important to say that sometimes the universe will give us something a little bit different than we expected in order to keep us on our toes, to keep us adaptable, to keep us flexible, and to keep us learning. Because if we only receive stuff the way that we expect or anticipate to receive it, then we're no longer growing, right? We're no longer challenging ourselves to break through and on to the next step or the next level. And so with this bloom card, I feel like there's a little bit of resistance because maybe certain things aren't going to show up the way that you expect them to, and therefore you may discount them 100%. And I feel like the universe is saying, no, do not do that. Allow yourself a chance here. I feel like for some of you, it's like you're used to having to do things your own way, and therefore you expect the universe to respond and allow you to continue doing things, you know, like your way or the highway, right? And then we have reflection on the other side of the deck here. And so I'm getting getting the term in my head, peer review. So some of you could be entering a space where you're receiving a certain amount of feedback, whether it is direct or not. Just pay attention to whatever is being spoken to you, whatever parts of you see reflected from the outside world back to you. I also feel like, interesting. I also feel like for some of you, maybe when you're scrolling through social media, you may randomly come across some type of masculine energy or aspect that is able to teach you and show you ways to be more confident in yourself and to truly confide in oneself in a way that is empowering and very substantial. It's funny because I'm like seeing this like exclamation point and then like a canary or something. So I feel like there's some things where it's like maybe you're starting to see the warning signs of certain things or certain people. And so maybe you could be, for some of you, maybe you could be the one that's trying to do stuff in order to avoid or to pay attention to whatever these cautionary signs are, but also pay attention to make sure, like, is it something that is born from, is it a response that's born from trauma too? Because I feel like the universe is trying to, in some ways, scare you a little bit, but at the same time show you that there's nothing wrong. I feel like it's about you also overcoming some types of fears, and I think a lot of it depends upon whether or not you're able to see yourself in the situation and therefore show up with compassion, as long as you're not overextending yourself, right? Or crossing your own boundaries. All right, so let's move forward and pull some tarot. All right, so one moment. We have the Queen of Wands, the Four of Pentacles, and the Ten of Cups. So with this Queen of Wands, it's like, because it's with this Hunger card, it's like you're just used to doing things your own way. And perhaps you've adopted a way that you feel like is your own, but isn't actually working for you. It's like you've identified with certain protective measures or tactics that really do kind of exhaust you and wear you out. And so for some of you, make it feel as if you don't belong here. The things that truly are here for you are not, that you're not deserving of them because of the way that you've had to survive and move through the world. And I feel like with this Queen of Wands showing up, it's like that's not the case. You can do things your own way. And if your own way is not something that depletes you and leaves you in a state of lack, right? In a poverty mindset. It's something that instead of leaving you with just enough, it can leave you with so much more. And it's like you just have to be able to nurture yourself. And I feel like for some of you, you're going to enter a phase where you're able to truly like parent yourself in a way that helps you really shift your narrative in some fashion. And then with this Four of Pentacles, what I'm getting here too is that there are certain things like and responsibilities that you really cling to. There are some things that you perhaps deceive yourself in some way about the things that you have to let go. And it's like, because you're tired of having to persevere through stuff. And so, but part of you's like, no, but this is my lot. I'm kind of stuck with it. And it's like, I don't think that's the case. I feel like anywhere you go, it's important for you to notice kind of where the path has led you. Like when there's been a break from something, there's always been something else to follow. And I feel like there's a certain amount of trust that needs to be had. Like with this Four of Pentacles, it can mean kind of like a forced sense of stability. And so it's like really investigate what your concept of stability is during this time, because even then, like a really balanced concept of stability is still going to involve a certain amount of risk, right? It's going to involve a certain amount of risk that leads to expansion, that leads to new territories, that opens that path like I was talking about before. And then with this Ten of Cups here, I feel like it's you actually being able to obtain the energy of whatever that happy home life, that sustainable energy and confidence in oneself really and truly is. And I feel like you're able to then become a role model in some way and be offered something by one of your guides from the other side. It's like I feel like they're really wanting to offer you something, but at first glance it may feel like it's something else that you have to invest in, like begrudgingly, whether it's through money or energy, attention, what have you. And so there may be part of you that feels a little bit tired and not sure how long you'd be able to maintain it, and so you may resist it. But the universe is saying, no, I'm giving this to you, promise me, just plant the seed. Like, you can make this grow, you can make this happen, and it's not going to be as difficult as you may think. Here at the bottom of the deck, we have the Three of Swords in reversed. So I feel like there are some things that you're resisting putting out into the world because there's a certain amount of vulnerability that you have to be willing to display or allow yourself to access. And so, you know, with Scorpio, sometimes a lot of people will be like, oh, Scorpio, like they're very mysterious and, you know, intimidating. And so it's like part of you, again, may identify with that generalization about Scorpios, but I feel like here there's a softer side of you that's being called out, and that's really what's going to help you flourish moving forward. You know, softness doesn't mean weakness. Like, when we're vulnerable, we're actually way more in our power because we're honoring our story, our path, our truth, our experience. And how many people do you feel like in your life honestly do that? And do you admire them? Do you admire those people? If so, then maybe that is the type of brand of vulnerability that you can begin to emulate and integrate into your life and how you show up in the world. Other side of the deck, we have the Knight of Cups. So what this is telling me is just like you're ready to offer something to the world, and you gotta keep your mind open. You gotta make sure you broaden your horizons. Even though you really don't know what the challenges may look like ahead, it's all about where you are now and what you're willing to give and to offer. You're making moves in order to offer something or be of service. There's some type of how do I want to put this? It's like you want to breathe some type of life into the world, and you want to do it before like the cup runs dry or gets stale or there's like dust in it or something. You know, if you like leave like cups of water around the house like that, is just kind of what's coming to mind. And so there may be part of you that's really wanting to rush this because you feel like there's a limited amount of time. But I assure you, you're almost out of the forest, right? You're almost out of the woods, and you're going to be able to see really clearly what those next steps are. But again, don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed. Focus on one thing at a time. Always focus on what's closest, but make sure that you're headed in the right direction. I feel like that is one of the most important pieces of information to offer you at this time, Scorpio. So I'm going to keep this nice and short. So that's all I have for you. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Check the description box below if you'd like to book a session with me or to donate. Other than that, I'll see you in July. Bye for now.